when people engage you as a buyer's agent, they're actually getting a whole range of skills from not only your licensing, but your extensive experience in buying, selling, and renovating real estate, aren't they?
They ask a lot of questions that would help them and
Yes.
shortcut some of the answers. Um, Unless they, specifically agree and want to use me to do other larger projects, normally it's a conversation. So most of the time I can answer most things over the phone or on email
Yeah.
rather than having to travel to site. The benefit of
Yeah.
using a buyer's agent that's actually been in the trenches like myself, that's done the do, that's walked the walk, is that you can see what potential hazards are coming a mile away rather than experiencing them and then halfway through the day freezing like a deer in the headlights and stopping everything. There's nothing worse than planning and then having to stop because you didn't think of step 2 or step 3. A good example of that, Tony, is around 10 years ago, I moved a front door of a house. So the house was built with an entryway, almost like a hallway that's external to the house. So you would walk under a cover and then get into the house before you open the front door. It was only about a meter and a half walkway. But because the front door was out of the rain, it was designed in that way just to make it comfortable. But it was a big indent into the lounge room. So that made the lounge room a 3 meter by 3 meter lounge room. So the first thing I did when I remeasured and worked out which one is a supporting wall and had the builder and consultants there was move the front door from that meter and a half into the room into almost line up, so a little bit indented, maybe it was 20 centimeters from the wallway, so that the wall was in line with the door frame. That seems simple. The one thing, because it was 10 years ago and I'm not a builder, that I would have ideally liked the builder to tell me ahead of time was that halfway through the job, they would have to stop and wait for an electrician to move the meter box from where it was in front of the door on the outside of the house. Now that the door has moved, the meter box has to be moved, but it can't be moved by them and it can't be moved by a normal electrician. They need what's called a level 2 electrician in New South Wales. And they can't proceed until that's done. So halfway through the job, so they quoted for it to be a 7-day job, meaning we can move in 10 days. Halfway through, they said, right, and now can you get the electrician? It's like, okay, but you're handling everything. So they were contracted to do the painting, the carpentry, the plumbing, the everything. They didn't mention that their electrician wasn't capable of doing that thing. They needed to hire somebody else. When they booked the job 2 months in advance, they didn't say, make sure you prepare this and this and this. But them as the project manager, as the builder in charge of the other trades, they would have done this before. So they should have known that when you move a door to the other side of the meter, unless it's one of these remote control meters that come with a Wi-Fi signal, you need to move the box as well. Somebody who's never done that before, as a layperson, wouldn't have known. It's just not one of the things you guess. You think, okay, I'm hiring a builder to supervise and bring all the other trades. I don't know how many trades they're expecting. I don't care. I pay them to supervise to do the job until it's finished. They tell me it's finished in 7 days, which means in 8 days or 9 days, I can move in. So imagine if you had all of your furniture packed up, all of your clothes in suitcases, the removalist truck ready to move from your old house to your new house, your lease is finished, and then they say, okay, well, now we need to book somebody else. So you call frantically 30 people to try to find somebody with the license that can do it and that isn't booked that week. And most tradespeople, if they're good, they might be booked 2 weeks in advance. I've had some that are booked 12 weeks in advance, meaning 3 months. So imagine living in a suitcase, not having a family, not having anywhere to take your family, and paying already for your job, but not being able to move in. So now, in effect, you're paying for 2 houses, one that you're about to move into but can't be moved into because there's no electricity, and the second one, which, well, you've told the owner, the landowner, or the bank that you've sold it or you've rented it out. So what do? Do you end up going to a hotel? Do you have a friend who wouldn't mind a family of 4 or 5 coming over and sleeping on their couch? I mean, it's okay for one night to find a hotel. It's okay for
Yeah.
3 nights. But if you're waiting 12 weeks
Then no.
for the door to move, mind you, that's the front door of the house. So you've got no front door and no electricity. It's just not livable. So some people can see those things miles ahead. And it's always better to benefit from somebody else's experience rather than to go through every bit of trouble yourself. Some things are fun things you want to experience yourself, but you
Yeah.
don't need to go through
Yeah.
all the problems yourself.